Yeah, so if you've watched any of my last few videos, you'll be aware that we are getting updates on this situation pretty much hourly at this point. In fact, even though I uploaded a video about this topic yesterday, we have a bunch more updates that we need to cover in today's video. And I feel like this is going to be the case for the next few days, right? Because it's such a recent situation. The details we had at the beginning were very vague. We're getting more and more details now, and today's no different. We have statements from people who've had experiences with Jodi and Ruby in the past. We also have an update on the status of Connexions, the actual page itself. Obviously, Shari was trying to get it deleted. And we also have the specific charges against Jodi and Ruby, and it's more than what we originally thought. But yeah, let's start with the status of Connexions, because in my previous video, we had a look at Shari's story asking to report the Connexions page because she doesn't feel like they deserve a platform, and I don't think anyone really thinks they deserve a platform, right? Well, the good news is the channel has actually been terminated. As you can see, if we search the word Connexions, filter it to channels, it's no longer there. It's been taken down from YouTube. But the negative here is that the Facebook page is still up. I'm actually in the group now under like a fake alias, and it's still up. In fact, they actually posted a video not that long ago. Let's have a look. The 27th of August. And judging by the question here, this video is going to be Ruby talking about sex, which I don't think anyone wants to hear. But actually, if you've seen any of my videos on Connexions previously, you will be aware that they do two style of videos, right? They do the style that we just saw there, which is Ruby or Jodi will set up a camera, it's like a vertical frame, and they'll answer a question and give advice. But they also do these more like high budget videos where it's both of them sat together talking about a topic for like half an hour, and you'll never guess what their last topic was about before they got arrested. Yeah, so their last video together before they got arrested was talking about victims. Right, I mean, in hindsight, this has got even more of an eerie feel to it, hasn't it? But as I also mentioned at the beginning of this video, we have more statements from people who have been involved with specifically Jodi previously, because obviously Jodi has been like a marriage counsellor for over a decade now. In fact, in 2012, I believe, she had her license revoked, right? And then she had to have like supervision, someone watching over her when she had more clients in the future. She ruined a bunch of families, and we've covered that pretty heavily over the course of my videos previously, but since this news has broke, a bunch of her previous clients or people who've just had experience with her in the past have came out and spoke about it. So validated after I tried to warn everyone of Jodi's methods. She separated my son from us and forced him to live in the attic, if not a garage. I hope justice is served. She should not be allowed to ever practice as a counsellor again. Rot in prison. And here's a statement from a different person saying, so I'm thinking of publishing some emails Jodi Hildebrandt wrote that would let the world learn her dark side. Also stuff that shows how Jodi has a past of unethical relationships with clients whose life she destroys after converting them over to her cult doctrine, like this lady. I'm going to go to her criminal hearings. I want her to see me in court and know her day of reckoning is coming. And again, we have another statement from a different person saying, it was only a matter of time before you'd be exposed, Jodi Hildebrandt. I knew from the moment I met you something was incredibly off with you. Something dark and haunting. You played a significant role in ruining the relationships of some of my loved ones with your distortion counselling. You brought a tremendous amount of pain to these families, including mine. I hope this situation teaches you the lessons you've been needing and allows you the time to get counselling yourself to find peace moving forward. No more pain for you or your clients. And yeah, unfortunately, it's not much of a surprise that people have had these experiences with Jodi, right? We've spoke about people's previous experiences with Jodi, the fact she also had a license took off her like a decade ago at this point. But when you see people actually talk about their personal experiences, it just hits different, because she has genuinely been ruining or trying to ruin people's lives for far too long now, and finally justice being served. I imagine this is a big relief to the people who have had an experience with her, but it's just crazy that this has been going on for so long. But also, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, we also have the specific charges against Ruby and Jodi. They've been charged for the same thing, and we actually have Ruby's indictment here that actually gives the charges. There's 6 counts of aggravated child abuse. Now, I believe when we first heard about this situation, there was only 2 counts, right? So I believe in the last few days they've gained even more evidence, which now has resulted in 6 counts. Now, as I mentioned, each count is aggravated child abuse, but each one is slightly different. So count 1 is serious physical injury, including physical torture. Count 2 is serious physical injury, including any conduct that results in starvation or failure to thrive or malnutrition that jeopardizes the child's life. Count 3 is serious physical injury, including conduct towards a child that results in severe emotional harm, severe developmental delay, or intellectual disability, or severe impairment or of the child's ability to function. Yeah, this one specifically really kind of got to me, because we've heard about like the physical stuff, but then when you hear about this one here, talking about the mental effects of this, I mean, severe developmental delay or intellectual disability, I mean, what she has done is going to have an effect on the children for a ridiculous amount of time, like with the trauma and everything, and it's just heartbreaking. It really fucking is. Like, I feel so bad for the children. Now, these next counts are very similar to the ones we already spoke about, but obviously there's 2 children involved, hence why they're similar. And just to give some context of the severity of these charges, we have an article here that says each of the 6 counts carries a possible prison sentence of 1 to 15 years and a fine of up to $10,000. Meaning if Ruby and Jodi are found guilty, which, I mean, there's a lot of evidence to suggest they're guilty, they are doing prison time. Right? And it could be for a long time. And in fact, I actually saw this video from a news station talking about the fact that because Ruby has put out so much evidence herself in her YouTube videos of her actions, her disgusting actions, it's going to really damage her defense.
Criminal defense attorney Sky Lazaro says being in the public eye can be a challenge building a defense.
It certainly makes cases far more difficult when people have put content out or posted on social media things that could be harmful to your defense.
And I don't think anyone's put out more content that could be harmful to their defense. I mean, she's been doing this for years. And the thing is, the reason why we have seen all of this, and the reason why I have so much evidence, is because she has optionally told us. She would set up a camera, speak, tell us about the disgusting things she's done, edit it, and upload it for everyone to see. She only has herself to blame for people now knowing about this, but thank God she did tell us, because it's going to be used against her, and hopefully justice will be served. And as I previously mentioned, when we first heard about this situation, it seemed like there was going to be 2 counts of child abuse, right? Not 6. And I'm assuming that's because more evidence has come out, which makes me think, is there a possibility that there could be more charges? Obviously, I'm not a pro when it comes to like law or anything, so I don't really know. But I did see this article earlier today talking about how neighbours have been trying to ring the police for a long time because they were worried about the children's safety. An Ivins, Utah resident who lives nearby the family and asked not to be named for privacy tells Rolling Stone that he and other neighbours have called the police on Frank multiple times out of concern for the children, and notes there were weeks at a time where the children appeared to be left home without an adult present. Weeks at a time, man. Like, yet again, we shouldn't be shocked by this, but it is still shocking when we hear these extra details, leaving your children who are ridiculously young for weeks at a time. Now, obviously, these are just accusations at this point, right? These are just allegations, but it would make sense with the whole, like, malnourishment thing, right? But the reason why I mentioned the charges and asking, is there a possibility that there could be more added on, is surely this is child neglect. Like, I don't understand how that couldn't be. Like I said, I'm not a pro when it comes to law, so I don't know what happens from this moment forward. I don't know if more charges can be put on because they do actually have an initial court appearance date. As you can see by this article, the initial court appearance date is September 8th. I don't believe that's actually the trial. I think it's just the initial appearance, but that's just in a few days. But yeah, if there is someone in the comment section who has more knowledge on law than I do, let me know. Can more charges be put on at this point? Because if that can be proven, surely that's child neglect. In early 2022, it started getting weird, the neighbour tells Rolling Stone. People were concerned because Ruby completely stopped all her YouTube stuff, and then it just kind of turned black. She taped up paper over all her windows. She would disappear for weeks at a time, and there's all these little kids just left alone in this house. Frank and her husband Kevin Frank did not respond to Rolling Stone's request for comment. Now, it's interesting that Kevin didn't respond because he is currently trying to get custody of the children, right? So if this has turned out to be true and Kevin did know about it, that's definitely going to hurt his case. The cops were called, you know, several times. They would come and they'd knock on the door and nobody would open up. Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking, man. Like I mentioned, we are getting more details by the day, by the hour at this point, and it just becomes more and more shocking. We knew for so long, for years, that Ruby specifically and Kevin and Jodi, horrible people, and the way they treated their children was disgusting. But I don't think anyone knew the extent of what was going on, or at least I just didn't want to think that could ever possibly be the extent of it. I just hope that the right thing happens here and justice is served. This is obviously going to be a really long process, right? We're not going to find out for a long time what actually happens. But there is so much evidence out there, right? Shari even asked for the evidence herself, and the amount of people who must have sent her evidence and clips must have been overwhelming. I don't think it'd be possible to even go through it all. There'd be so much. So I would like to think that the right thing does happen here. We can only hope, right? But yeah, that's the updates that we have for now. And yeah, let me know your opinions on all the new information that we spoke about in today's video. And yeah, if you're new, subscribe, all that stuff. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in a bit. Alright, goodbye.